Garrett's Games. My name is Doug.
My name's Shelley.
And we are a weekly podcast and video series about board games, family-style board games, gamers games, all of those types of things. On the podcast, which usually comes out on Sundays, we talk about a couple of games. We do interviews with designers and so on. We do previews of Essen and other things like that. And we're starting this new video series that we've had for a few months here, where we're talking about a specific game, sometimes ones that we talked about on the podcast previously, where we discuss the game in detail, and with the visuals here, you can get an idea of what it's all about, and so you can head down to your friendly local game store and check them out. All right, before we get started, remember, you can head down to the show notes and help us, sponsor us, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and there's a link down in the show notes, well, two links actually. One to a Patreon page, patreon.com/GarrettsGames, where you can help sponsor the podcast directly. Or there's another link to an extensive list of games that no longer fit on our shelves, but belong on your table. Great way to get new games to you, especially with these terrorists out there, where you can have nice, good, solid games that just no longer fit on our shelves, so we can get more games, and so we can get them to you as soon as possible. So check that list out and get some games headed your way. So what do we got today? Today we've got three chapters from AMIGO Games. This is a game that we got as a review copy. It is a game for 2 to 6 players for ages 10 plus and plays in about 30 minutes. A quick game of card drafting, trick taking, and card combos that you've got set up. So let's take a minute and talk about 3 chapters. So 3 chapters works, surprisingly, in 3 parts. Yes, you've got first the drafting, then the trick taking, and then the looking at your hand and getting points from it. All right. So because it plays 2 to 6 players, one of the most interesting things is in a 2-player game, you're actually doing the drafting and drafting to ghost players or player, stacks where each player is playing. Now, if I were in this, I would be sitting over here where the camera is, and we play and draft to the person on our right. So we're creating a stack of cards that is on our right. So Shelley would be putting
only into
her
this
right
pile.
side. Exactly. Yeah. It gives us an idea of what cards are available because, as I implied in the first bit there, in chapters 2 and 3, we are going to be playing cards and looking at the ways in which those cards can combine. Well, one of the cool things about this is all of the cards revolve around fairy tales, right? So Shelley,
I love that.
Yeah,
so
Shelley taught
exciting.
at 3rd grade.
Yeah, and I did a big thing with fairy tales for sure.
Yeah,
All the
whole Cinderella, right?
versions and 3 Little Pigs and exciting stuff. So yeah, I was really excited about this game.
Yeah, so you've got all of those characters on the various cards. Each card, numbered 1 through 50, is assigned a value. Okay, so you are not only looking at your hand and seeing which ones you're going to want to keep, and of course in a 2-player game, you are going to get a set of 8 cards and just go back and forth with your opponent, putting one of the cards into that ghost player's hand, and then also keeping one yourself. And you do
then that gets passed
back and forth. Yeah, we're passing. Yeah.
So I know what's still in the deck.
Exactly.
Or in his hand, and then they're coming back to me.
Right. Whereas in a game with more players, you're going to again get 8 cards, but you're going to take one, pass it, take one, pass it, and you're going to know a little bit. You're going to see more cards because they're, everybody at the table with 4, 5, or 6 players is going to have that 8 cards that are passed out, and you're going to wind up with 7 cards that you're ultimately going to play, with the final one not being included. In a 2-player game, you actually have 8 cards that you're going to play, but of course you are going to shuffle up the cards that each of the ghost players have, so that you aren't exactly sure when things are coming out. Because with the 2nd chapter in the game, you're going to be doing trick taking. Now, usually when we talk about trick taking, we're talking about suits, and there's the lead suit, and then there's the Trump suit, and all of that. Nope. It's easy in this game.
Really easy.
All it is the number. All right. So you've got cards 1 to 50. All right. And everybody's going to play a card. The person who led or the person who wins a trick leads for the next trick. All right. And you're trying to win stars, which are worth 2 points at the end of the game, hearts, which are worth 1 point at the end of the game, and gems, which are worth half a point each, or 2 to get 1 point. All right? So each of the cards then has not only the different type on it, so in this case, this is the princess, but it also then may have, especially for the lower valued cards, an interaction so that you're trying to get those combos set up. And here's the interesting thing. In the trick taking, as the combos come up, you are going to play those tricks out, and you're going to have those cards that are going on, and you're comparing and seeing how the combos play out in the trick. But in chapter 3, everybody's going to keep and hold on during those trick taking the cards that you have in your hand. So it's not like the lead player takes all of the cards in the trick and puts it off to the side to keep track. No, in this case, everybody's going to have those cards that they have played, and now you're going to compare your hand to see what that's like. So let's talk about this. So let's say we've got our first one going on, and say Shelley's going to start.
So I look at my cards and I'm like, there's some really high value cards. So I actually got the highest value card, which is 50. They range from 1 to 50. And I'm like, well, I probably want to keep the 50 because, well, that's a really great card.
Well, maybe she wants to start with that so she can win that first trick for sure.
Exactly. So that's the one I would decide to keep, I think. And then I said, well, maybe I'll give...
Are you going to play this first?
Well, I was going to give...
Oh, you're doing drafting. No, wait, so let's say we've already drafted. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so...
I'm okay.
That's okay. We're good.
Right.
We're good.
Okay.
So it's as if we've already drafted. So we've taken one
This is
and
my hand of cards.
Oh,
okay, back and forth.
Exactly.
Be
Shelley would definitely have kept that 50. That's for sure.
Yes, I would not have passed that on for sure.
Okay, so we're playing the first part of the second chapter.
Let's say I start, and I definitely would play this dragon, which is 50.
Okay, and we're going to go around.
It doesn't have any special powers. We'll talk. There's some symbols on here, those are very important.
Yeah.
But so I would pay the 50.
Okay, and now I, maybe having seen that the dragon and maybe foolishly passed it on. I don't know.
You would never do that.
I would probably not have done that.
No,
but maybe I had the princess and the dragon in my hand at the start, and so I know Shelley would play the dragon, so I play the princess. Now, Shelley,
I win the trick.
Is going to win that trick.
I'd win
for
all
sure.
of them with that.
But
number.
Me with the princess, that means with winning the trick. Remember, star.
2 victory points.
I don't win the trick, but look, I get a star, a heart, and a gem, and I don't win the trick because the dragon was played. So that gets played. You turn over. I had already turned over one of these. I had set this up and then I shuffled. Let's see, where was that one? Here it is. Yeah, you play that, boom, and there we go. So here, if these two other players were there, here's the giant, and here's Jack from Jack and the Beanstalk, right? So because the giant was played, if this was a human character, they would get 5 gems because the giant had been played. So sometimes, even though Shelley said, and I probably would have, you want to take that dragon.
Yeah.
If you have both of these in your hand to start drafting, maybe you pass that dragon on and you make sure that you play that princess because Shelley gets a star for this one, winning the trick, but I get a star, a heart, and a gem. And if this person was the player, this would have been a foolish play because they'd already seen the 50. But this guy who played Jack is getting 5 gems from playing Jack. All right. Now, of course, turn order is key here because we knew since Shelley led and she led with, we get to then choose after and we play in turn. It's not a simultaneous reveal or anything like that. Now, as we go forward, we're going to have played out our hand.
Okay.
Okay. So we've got our 8 cards that we have played, and the third chapter is now we did the comparison as we did the tricks and we've collected our stuff from that. We're now doing the comparison with our own hand. So if we'd been able to keep more than one thing that works together. So for example, here is the Frog Prince, and I knew that I wasn't going to win with this, but if there is at least one other crown, notice, as Shelley was referring to, with the dragon, for example, it's the monster here. All right. Here is the princess that I had already had. Now, because I had the Frog Prince, I knew I was going to lose, but I get 2 hearts. And maybe I'd been able to play this on a trick that gave me another 2 hearts. So I'd been able to get 4 hearts or 4 points from the Frog Prince, knowing I kept this because I can get 2 hearts because I got the princess in my hand. So I go through and I compare all of these here, and some of them are trick specific. So this is number 43, which isn't the highest thing, but if I'd been able to win the trick, notice that it says during chapter 2, if you won the trick, you'd get an extra heart, okay?
Then there's ones that are specific for chapter 3 as well.
Right, I've got one here that is in chapter 3, when you're doing this comparison in your hand, if you have the most gems, you get a star, all right? And a lot of the dwarves have that one.
I have one that says you get a heart if you have, for each of the different monsters that I have. So I have 1. Right. So I would get 1 extra at that time.
Right, but hopefully she had played that card to get monsters during the trick time. So you're getting this double payoff from cards. And it's very cool.
It is really fun.
Right. So again, draft. In a 2 or 3 player game, you're getting to see cards, more cards in the deck. In that 2 player game, you're setting up these fake dummy players. Okay. Then you are playing out your entire hand, doing a trick 1 turn at a time. And then after you've played out your hand, you're looking at your hand and looking at those combos that you set up possibly also during the trick. And that is 3 chapters. So what'd you think of this one, hon?
I love it. It's fun. It's really so sweet.
Yeah.
And I like the theme, of course. But, I mean, it's just interesting because Puss in Boots, for example, is an animal card, right?
Yep,
so it's got the paw prints on it.
Yep.
So maybe
Frog
I'm trying to
Prince
get a
has the
bunch
animal
with
card,
paw prints. Or maybe, but it's also just interesting because it tells you that it's thematic, right?
Yeah,
so this one, the White Rabbit, has a paw print and a mushroom.
Because, of course, it's from Alice in Wonderland.
Right, exactly.
Things are a little psychedelic there.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, and then there's Goldilocks, who has a little kid on it. So maybe you're trying to get one to have kids on it.
Get the bears, exactly. Also, yes,
yeah,
exactly. I have one. This is Peter Pan. So if I had seen Goldilocks, I would have gotten points, a heart for each other child that had been played either during the trick or that I've been able to keep in my hand. And I think that's the interesting thing. You have this, am I going to keep it from my hand or am I going to pass something on, knowing that even though sometimes I'm not going to get it because of the way the game works and who's going to play and when because you get to see cards, or maybe it's great if you're the last person to play because you can see the possible combos. Right?
Being leading the trick, you're kind of, it's not as good.
But I mean, you can lead, and if you got something really, you are. Look at, she had both the 50 and the 49. She's going to start with, she's going to be awesome.
So I'm
for
like,
those first
I'm definitely going to win these tricks, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the game. I can't wait to play it with more players. We've only really played it 2-player,
right?
But it works really well 2-player.
It really does work well 2-player
because you get to see more of the cards. It really gives you an idea of what's out there, what's not out there, and what you are therefore going to be able to make those combos off of. That is so cool.
And because if you're going to win the trick, obviously.
Right.
So you're always, because if you're starting or if you're coming next, you see, okay, well, I know I'm not going to win because I don't have anything that number. But then you're trying to think, well, is there a symbol on here or one of the little side things that it's going to give you points for having it. So
this is Hansel. This is Gretel. So if you want,
so if she's with the witch,
she's worth. Gem.
If it's with the witch, she's 44.
Well, the witch is 44, so she gets a gem.
Right.
And if she's with Hansel, then she gets
yeah.
a heart. So it's what might be played around, right?
So
it's really
you're really
straightforward.
looking for
what's
that
going on.
because
Yeah.
even if you're not going to win the trick, you're
Well,
thinking,
and
well,
also, maybe you don't even want to win the trick.
yeah, you maybe
Right?
don't
You
want
want
to.
to set up that combo. Like for me, okay, the dragon is always going to win, but the princess actually gets a better payout than the dragon, even though they won the trick. So
yeah, you don't want to blow. You don't want to, put your high card out if you're going to lose. So you're going to be trying to figure out other ways to get points based on the cards, or your whole hand's going to score anyway.
Yes, exactly.
So there's that too. So it's so much fun.
So again, this is three chapters from AMIGO, designed by Joe Hout. It is for 2 to 6 players, plays in about 30 minutes, ages 10 plus. Really solid game, and it's kind of a great introduction in many ways to both card drafting.
Yep.
Trick taking, and card combos. All 3 things in 3 chapters.
And it works perfectly 2-player.
It really does.
Yeah, I mean, you would think it's dummy players, but this is so fast. You flip them, and then you're like,
boom.
Oh man, that's so great. Especially if you're behind them. You're
exactly.
coming last, and you're like, oh, can I get some points based on those?
Yeah. So that's the game. 3 chapters. Hope you like this video. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe down below, and check out that list of games that could be wending your way shortly. Have a great week. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you next week. Bye.